However, the majority of Arminians, regardless of their position on this point, still affirm that man retains libertarian free will throughout the entirety of earthly life. Those are the 5 anti-Calvinist corrections of Arminianism, or famously called as 5 points of the Remonstrance of 1610.
I have a question here.
Yes, dear, how can I help?
If you believe in Arminian doctrine, can you be saved?
Well, good thing you asked that question. The same question was asked to William Ames at the Synod of Dort. He was a great English Puritan who had to flee from England because he wouldn't conform to the Church of England as a Congregationalist. He found a home in the Netherlands among the welcoming Dutch. Ames, a staunch Calvinist and staunch Puritan, answered the question by saying, "No, Arminianism is not a heresy, but it is a serious error tending to heresy." Due to the process of time, Ames sensed that Arminianism is becoming unstable in its theological position because it slowly ends up emphasizing more and more of free will. Instead of focusing on God, it tends to focus on man's response. A number of years ago, J.I. Packer wrote a really helpful and insightful essay called Arminianisms. He talks about what he calls rational Arminianism, which tends more and more towards Pelagianism and other errors such as Socinianism, which is a kind of rationalism. Then he contrasts rational Arminianism with what he calls evangelical Arminianism, particularly related to John Wesley. Wesley always stressed grace as a priority. He wanted to keep some place for free will, but he wanted to talk about grace in the work of Christ. Packer rightly said that these two Arminianisms are worlds apart. So, you have to ask yourself what kind of Arminianism you are confronting. In its most radical forms, it can become a heresy, but in its forms which try to stress grace and responsibility, it can be quite evangelical.
So you mean one can be saved, however, he has to be responsible in which teachings of Arminianism he is going to believe? Because as what you've said a while ago, according to Ames, this theology is becoming unstable in its position due to the process of time.
Yes, you're right.
But, according to Packer, as he contrasts rational against evangelical Arminianism, specifically related to Wesley, he wanted to talk about grace and the work of Christ, and I guess that's what makes it different.
Exactly. You bullseye the point, dear. Do you have more on your mind?
It's clear now. Well, thank you for the enlightenment.